Whoops. Helps if you can see us. GM Farcaster. It is Friday, October 25th, and you are here with Nounish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day and a celebration of purple. We are very purpley today. This is very
Happy
exciting.
birthday, Purple.
Happy birthday, Purple. It is the second birthday of Purple, which launched 2 years ago. And we're going to have Chris Corella on in just a few minutes to sort of give us a rundown of these past 2 years and celebrate Purple, and also talk a little bit about Scout Game and learn a little bit about that. But before we do that, we've got a few things to jump into. Not too much, but Adrian, you picked up another token. Very exciting.
I did.
And
Only
it's
my
670.
second.
And I forgot to check and see if I won the 671. I'm not sure. I forgot to check. Oh no, I might have been outbid. I often forget. But I did put a bid on 671. So I gotta go check that out. So today's a good day to bid on purple, is what we're saying. And we'll talk more about what exactly purple is in just a little bit. But a few news things that happened yesterday. Anybody notice that DWR left? I'm sending a message to Adrian at like, I don't know what time, right before I was doing something yesterday, and I was like, did DWR block me? Can you see if you can find him? Because I can't find him anymore. And then it turned out he's, I don't know, lost his username somehow. I don't know, didn't have the recovery phrase or something happened there. And he's now just exclamation point 3, which 3 is his FID. And we still don't have any information as to why this happened.
He said it was a bug.
Okay.
And he gave no further information.
Okay. I did love this. PFISTA and TLDR with the 1 and 2 sitting in a tree. Decentralizing. First comes hubs, then comes channels, then comes decentralization of private messaging for the protocol at large, including apps not named Warpcast. I just thought that was hilarious. It was very cute. So well done there, but I was so confused. I'm like, what is going on? Am I blocked? What did I do? Too many
I
political
don't know.
discussions.
Speaking of sitting in a tree, my questions are, is that global? Does everyone around the world know what that means? And number 2, are people still saying it? I never once heard my kids say it, so I feel like it may just be some weird thing that only old people of a certain time know what that means.
That could very well be true. So for the youngins, if you have no idea what we're talking about, this was like a fun little, I don't know, teasing phrase that you would sing to make fun of your friends when they had crushes. Yeah, so they probably don't do that anymore because they're more evolved than we are. This from Varun, Warpcast experiment trending feed. We're going to run a few experiments to improve the trending feed, make it easier for new accounts to get into the trending feed, inject trending casts into the home feed to help discovery. About 50% of users will see the new experiment for a few days. Please send feedback. And here's the important point. If you're in the experiment, you won't be able to open the trending feed anymore, and the casts will be mixed into your home feed instead. And I begged to be not in I want to be in the control group. Please do not put me in this experiment. I don't want to lose my trending feed.
And do you still have your trending feed?
Are
you in the experiment?
Trending feed. I am not in the experiment. So if you are in the experiment, go add your comments here. Because yeah, they want to know.
If you're in the experiment and your trending feed went away and it's only mixed in your home feed, Prof will give you $5 if you tell V that you hate it.
Please tell V that you hate it. I appreciate that. This from Horsefacts. Mini app transactions are live. Request transactions from your Composer actions and mini apps live on Warpcast web and mobile. Check for an app update and reload Warpcast. And there's information about the details here. So that's exciting for mini apps. I wonder if that's how we were able to get the new life in trivia the other day. So they added a little thing that if you had the alpha pass, you got to revive yourself, and essentially it's a transaction within the little mini app. So it might be related to this. but it was a lot of fun. Also, still loving trivia. You guys should all go do it. Couple of things from Moxie. Yeah, it's been a bit of a couple of days. We're not going to breathe any oxygen into the full-on controversy, but I will mention this. This was from Beta Shop. We're thrilled to announce finalists for the Moxie Retro 1 grants. 214 applications are submitted. Rigorous review process. Moxie expert councils consisting of 32 peer-nominated Farcasters. 107 projects earned grants. 29 finalists were chosen. And now there's a DAO voting for the larger grants. So lots of folks got some grants for doing cool things with Moxie. You can see them here. And then there was a little bit of a dust up. And this came from Beta Shop after that, just kind of discussing what happened there and the resulting decision for somebody who was being a little bit toxic to step away. So I'm just going to sum it up like that. Just leave it there. And please, let's not do this again. Let's just stay away from this kind of stuff. It felt very crypto twittery the past few days, and I wasn't enjoying it at all. So maybe we can move on. Couple more.
Great summary, Prof.
We're just gonna leave it there. One other not happy a thing, and then we're gonna move on from this part. Is that okay? So a couple days ago, there was a tweet that said from the crypto Twitter influencer who does Coffee with the Captain. So remember Farcaster, they raised 180 million, including 150 million in May 24 with $1 billion valuation. On July 1st, Farcaster hit 2 million in cumulative protocol revenue. About 4 months later, cumulative revenue is only 2.34 million. It has become nearly non-existent per Dune. And it kind of goes on to drop some data in there saying they're not earning revenue. So therefore it's dead. It's dead over here. I liked P-Pista's comment here is just this. If you can see it, this is pointless. This is the growth chart of every business ever. And we are here. So, and then
I'm sorry, but yeah. Oh, actually, you can read what Eric wrote because I think he summed it up nicely. But it was one of the dumber things I read, and because it's kind of it just completely misses the point. And the fact that we're here in Farcaster and kind of no one's talking about protocol revenue as any metric that is meaningful. I mean, it's a proxy for new people who are joining. That's the only way protocol gets revenue. And we're not surprised. We've seen a dip in signups, but it doesn't really change the thesis for what Farcaster is building. But number two, it's that good reminder of when you're in somewhere and you're seeing people who are building and you're seeing what the outside thinks, it's it's irrelevant. And it just, I don't know. You can read what Eric said because I thought it was very good.
Yeah, let me read this from Eric's GMRGS. I can't believe this defiant headline and article. LOL wrote down some thoughts, and this is in relation to the captain and related media. The narratives are going to continue to look more disconnected from what's actually happening on chain. This is already the case when we look around at many, not all, legacy crypto media brands. Reality is many of these brands have incentive for social to stay the way it is, where they've built audience and influence and earned significantly from it. How many do we see here actively? Few. As we all know, legacy media relies on broadcasting to earn ad revenue, but FC is different. Media on FC is driven by permissionless community participation and free market incentives for all, not just the brand. Just as Twitter continues to be a threat to legacy media because of how it decentralizes the news flow, Farcaster is doing the same, but on another level, and it starts with crypto because that's what's often discussed here. Continue below. FC is about individuals first, based on the premise of ownership and alignment of incentives in community versus extraction of community. probably the reason we don't see many of these brands here, even when this app can do more on chain than all other social apps combined. We can definitely be patient, and I guess some will continue to come around. But as mentioned at the beginning, wouldn't be surprised to see the narratives of legacy crypto media get further and further away from what's actually happening, which will give opportunity to the new people building on media on FC today. Now let's have ourselves a Friday. So
Happy Friday.
perfect.
Hey, do you know anyone building
Happy
media on Farcaster?
I don't. Oh, yes, actually we are. That's right. It was interesting. It was like I jumped into the Twitter space that went with this, and the title to the Twitter space was Farcaster, all capital letters, and Foundation fail. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, you can't have this headline for like another 10 years. Like, then we'll talk. But it was really interesting because what I got from that space was that they didn't believe that headline at all. It was clickbait. So we
Right.
shouldn't get too,
And it worked because you
and it
spent some
worked
time in there.
really well.
So
It worked very, very well. So let's not give them that anymore. But yeah, it was something. Okay, couple more quick things and then we're going to bring Chris up. This is the other thing that I was spending a lot of time seeing on my timeline yesterday was this. It started with Miriam. So it started with Miriam, when I'm mad, anger. And then it went from there. So Adrian picked up on it at the same time as Toady Hawk. When my friend with the private jet asked me if I want to meet up, okay, hanger. And then Toady's mad at you because you ruined the chain because he started one over here.
Was he first?
I don't know. I didn't do the analysis. When I'm frustrated with ChatGPT, okay, clanger. So yeah. I think you literally both did it at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, maybe he might have been slightly before you.
All right. Sorry, you're breaking up. Let's edit that out.
When it's Halloween and Dracula steals your candy, okay, fanger. When Adrian doesn't like your rhyme, okay, danger. And this is when it started to devolve. Because there was a Ranger one. I think that was Horsefacts. If you try to tell me Ranger rhymes with banger, I'm gonna spam Uli channel with dolphin speak. And yeah. And this was Kristen's response, surfacing unhitched Adrian. But Toady felt the same. He was a little disturbed. I just read through that entire OK Banger meme quote cast thread. And to be honest, y'all worry me. Half of you apparently don't know how to rhyme. Adrian, we might need to stage an intervention. So that was funny. And at the end of all this, so what Miriam at one point had said, Dwarfy said, is this a new meme format? Oh my God, nah, that would go to my head. And then I said, has it gone to your head yet? My whole feed is this. And she said, this is seriously the best day of my life. So that's the story on that. And wasn't it hilarious? So I enjoyed that tremendously. Yeah, it was so funny. Just go back to Miriam's and you'll see.
Wider, because we don't really, no one can pronounce that.
We still don't know how to say your name.
Yeah. Missed the whole thing. That's what we got you. That's why you come to Jam Farcaster, so we can tell you the memes you've missed.
That's the whole point of the show. There it is, to go through memes like that.
I started a meme, but I'm not going to let it change me. Honestly, right? Like, and how much better does it feel to start a meme than get 5 USDC?
And then we were tipping her anyway. So there you go. It all works out. I wonder if she'll get 5 USDC for the activity.
A lot of times the original meme doesn't do as well as subsequent ones.
That's true. All right, let's bring our friend Chris Corella up here. Hello, Chris Corella. How are you today?
Hello, pretty good. Thank you. Hello, Farcaster.
So it is Purple's birthday today, 2 years old. And for those who might be new and have no idea what Purple is, can you share a little bit about what Purple is?
Yeah. So purple is a DAO, fashioned after nouns and using the Builder DAO software. So purple is a nounish DAO, where our goal is to help proliferate and expand the Farcaster protocol and ecosystem. And if you watch this show, I'm almost certain you know what a nounish DAO is. But we have a daily auction. In fact, Prof, you are still the high bid on
Oh,
671,
good. I haven't checked it.
which is beautiful artwork. I love the white ones. There's 6 hours left, so someone outbid Prof, please. But that's a great mug. We have a daily auction. 100% of the proceeds from that auction go into our treasury. The treasury can only be unlocked with proposals. So it's not like there's a multi-sig or anyone has control of this treasury. It is truly a DAO in its purest sense. And so people can put up proposals, um, uh, to expand and proliferate and support the Farcaster ecosystem. And then the membership votes. And if it's a yes vote, those initiatives get funded to do what they promised they were going to do. So I think that's kind of the technicality, the technical. What is Purple? Purple is a DAO that supports Farcaster. We've been around now for 2 years. In the early days, I should look this up. When we launched Purple, how many users were in Farcaster? Were probably like 1,000 of us. It was
Yeah.
like a very, very small.
Yeah.
There was no Moxie, there was no degen, there was no venture capital in the ecosystem, and so Purple wound up being the way we bootstrapped a lot of the projects in the ecosystem. It was at one point the only funding source, and when I had sort of uh, uh, I never want to take credit for this because it truly was like the early Farcaster users. There were probably 100 of us in a Telegram talking about this at the time. But when we fashioned it, it was like there were a lot of developers, people like Greg and Zach, and like they were just doing cool stuff in Farcaster. Like made no sense. There were no users there, but they were spending their nights and weekends building really cool apps, Searchcaster, all this cool stuff. And so I just wanted to fund those people for their efforts and then ultimately encourage it. So that's kind of where we started and the heart of what we're doing here.
That's the best summary. That was fantastic. And one of the big things too that Purple has done is retro rounds. And they've done that for basically the past year, like every few months, have done retro grant rounds for anyone who is building on Farcaster. It started on Prop House, and it would be like the top 5 would get 1 ETH, and now it moved to rounds right on in the Purple channel. And now 107, I think, in the last round ended up with some funding, which is amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this experiment. We did rounds twice. In the early days, you just described it well. Very early on, it was 1 ETH to 5. It would be 5 ETH rounds, or typically what we've done. So very early on, it was 1 ETH to 5 winners, which is that's some working capital. That's a real reward. I would say also a lot of software developers were winning 1 ETH in the early days, and it's a little bit less meaningful for them than some others. But we did 5 ETH. Then we wanted to have it bigger, so then we had 13 winners, and it was like the first one won 1 ETH, and then second and third place won 0.5 ETH, and then it cascaded down. And now it's like a lot of people, like with the number you just said, over 100 people get a small amount of ETH. And so, if you think about it just from a grants funding perspective, I wonder how people feel if that's like the best use of capital. Now, what lots of people have told me, I think even you guys, is often it's not about the amount of money. Again, at max, we were giving 1 ETH away. A lot of it is just the recognition of your peers. And so many people have told me hey, this was the thing I needed to keep going. One of them, which I think is another fantastic success story, is HeroCast. Was it was a project running on fumes, and then they got a Purple grant, and he straight up told me this is the validation I needed to keep working on this thing. And then other grants from other ecosystems came in, and they won no peak grant, and now they have a paid product. So it really has kind of kickstarted a lot of projects that we all know about today. That maybe it's been some history, so we don't know about Purple as much.
Right. And I think that's, so if you're just new to this, you're not familiar with Purple, um, it's a really has been a really helpful thing within this ecosystem to keep people going who are building on things. Because most of the time, most people are starting this as, it's the weekends and nights kind of thing, and you're doing it on the side, and to have some recognition that, like, yes, this is valuable, and people are using it is big, and it's been really helpful to us. It was our first revenue, and it was like, okay, this feels good to be able to drive something and be recognized for what we're doing. So, yeah, I think the maybe a combination of the two, Chris, might be better. Like, where maybe the first top three get a little extra bump or something like that, or something, I don't know, or have an opportunity to submit a prop, or I don't know, with some kind
Yeah,
of
good
additional
one.
recognition. And that's what we did with Builder. With when we used rounds, we had a very small amount going to whoever was proposing, and then the larger amount went to the DAO into their
It's really
treasury.
great.
So a little different. So maybe some combo, but I do think it's great that more people can get some recognition for what they're
Cool.
working on, and also the rounds help sort of amplify what people are working on as well. So that gives more eyes on it more, and that
Awesome.
helps too.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I would love to give some of my thoughts on Purple here on our 2-year anniversary, which is it's been a wild year for Farcaster.
Yeah.
It's like frames seem like it was like in a different era, but that was this year.
It was this year. It was not
Right,
even a year ago. Yeah,
right.
it's crazy.
Adrian, you look like you want to say
Right.
something.
I'm just so we just launched our Farcaster 101 like educational series, and when we filmed our episode on frames this week, when we first talked about it, Prof said that they launched in January 2023, and I didn't even edit that out because it cracked me up so much. It
That's so good.
feels like
I was wrong.
forever ago. It's like
Yeah.
less than a year.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
mean, even like I'm
2020.
like
Yeah.
I woke up today. I told my wife like, "Hey, it's Purple's 2-year anniversary." But like to do the math, it's like it's only been 2 years because
Yes.
at first I was like, "This is our 3-year anniversary." Oh wait, no, that was nouns. I guess this is our 2-year
Yeah.
anniversary.
Yeah. Crazy.
But I think it's been a wild year in Farcaster. I've enjoyed it. I mean, I think all good things. Up only. Frames is really amazing and brought in a lot of builder energy. A lot of that didn't stay. When I guess I maybe have personal theories, but when the gold rush wasn't there, people left. But we did bring in like a lot of builder energy, and then Degen brought in a whole other series of energy, and then we had Hire, and that whole season of meme coins, and then Moxie more recently. I mean, there's just like so much going on, and then like I would say like before frames, Purple was still the only funding source in the
Yeah.
ecosystem, and so we played like this outsized role in being able to fund people and support people. And then frames happened, and all the people came in, and now a lot of the like this is a positive thing. A lot of the companies are getting funded through venture. In fact, some of like I think Ponder's first capital was through Purple, and then now they got venture funding, and like there's a lot of those stories. I mean, I thought like maybe March, East Denver time. I remember going out there and talking to people, and it was like a little unclear what Purple's role is and what it should be. And hey, we're not really the money anymore because like our 1 ETH now is laughable compared to all of the other stuff that's happening, And but and then I went on my own personal side quest. I was like getting super involved in optimism and and the super chain, and then I went really deep in nouns. And I think it's like time to come back home to Purple because I think the ecosystem has shrunk a little bit. Certainly has not grown. It's not it's not a total failure like these previous tweets you read. But
Yeah.
it's just an interesting
I know
time
that.
where
Yeah.
it feels like a community again. Like in peak frames, it was like people were flooding in, and I didn't know who they were. And mostly that's a good thing, by the way. I'm not complaining about that. I thought that was a great thing. But now
Yeah.
it's back down to like the core believers, And then even when I think about myself and like where can I have the biggest impact across Ethereum, I do think it was Purple and decentralized social, and I believe in decentralized social like to my core, and that's actually my first principle. My second principle is like, okay, Farcaster and Warpcast is the best implementation of that, but I'm not here for Dan or for Warpcast. I'm here for decentralized social, and this is the best place for it. Then from there, it was like the super chain stuff is, then then it seemed like Warpcast was, and Farcaster was like, okay, cool, other people got this. There's like so much other stuff happening. This is great. This is what we always wanted. And then so for me, it felt like, oh, maybe my impact can be in the super chain. Maybe my impact can be through nouns. But as I've been sort of going through my maybe end of the year exercise of where it can have the biggest impact, I think once again it's back in decentralized social, and nouns is nouns, and it's going to be okay. Or not, but my impact is not going to change the trajectory of nouns. The super chain is off to the races. That is going to be a smashing success. And then it's back to like, okay, cool. We all need to rally around Farcaster again. I mean, preaching to the choir here because you guys show up every day and rally. But it's like, it's time to rally around decentralized social and Farcaster again. It's time to help change the narrative. And we have 40 ETH sitting in the treasury that has not been well deployed this year. And so like, let's use
I've
that
had some
ETH.
thoughts on that. I've had some thoughts on that. I had an idea for a prop that I think I'm going to put in soon.
Let's do it. We need more props on chain.
Time to do some fun things. Yeah.
So I feel like, my mission for the next couple of months or longer is going to be to just return to Purple, make it exciting, make sure we get good props up. We did fall into retroactive funding as our bread and butter. We ran out of money that was allocated for retroactive funding that was funded through props. So we need another retroactive funding prop. I think that's great. A 2-month cycle still feels really good. But and then the other thing we do is we fund events and meetups, and those are high impact. And now Ted's doing really incredible work around that stuff too. And the community, people don't even seem to need funding, and people are just rallying. So that's another thing. But I think it's time to have more ambitious props for Purple again. I'm personally very interested in storytelling. Al, I would love to see. I can't wait.
That's
I
links,
can't wait for your
by the way.
prop. Links, great. I can't wait for your prop. I'm interested in storytelling, not in like the kind of like storytelling is cool and it's like the buzzword now, but it does feel like we need to, and all of Ethereum tells the stories outside of our own bubble. So I'm more interested in telling stories about Farcaster to just creators who are not on Ethereum yet, more so than like trying to fight crypto Twitter, which it's like, whatever, those people already made their decision.
And Sigwider, yes, go outbid me. It is perfectly fine. You can outbid me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bring the bidding wars back.
Yep. Let's bring the bidding wars back. I already have 5 or 4 or 5. I have I think I have 3 of the old or 4 of the old and 1 of the new or something like that. So I'm good. I'll pick up another one. You grab it from me. Definitely out.
Okay, trivia for the chat. Who has the most purple tokens?
Ever? Oh, I mean, I could guess.
Who holds the most purple tokens?
I could guess.
And
I mean,
you can, and the chat can answer.
Yeah, you can find that answer if you go to Purple's site.
They might be in the
chat.
chat.
Is it still Purple Dot Construction?
They are.
Yeah, I think they're in the chat. Yeah.
I think if it's still Purple Dot Construction, I think we have some work to do around that and having a website.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, actually, in the Nouns Builder website works perfectly fine. So
yeah, totally.
Also a good place to go. But yes to Purple, yes to crypto.
Maybe we'll get a 2
loves
for 1.
leader. Has never seen a leaderboard he didn't want to conquer. Which I love about you so much. Yes to crypto. So that's so amazing.
I have a bunch of tokens early on, and I should start buying them again. I think, like, as the founder, it ruffled some people's feathers that every time I bought a token, I would hear about it. I started giving them away to, like, I think people who are just exceptional, So I actually have very few tokens left. And the space, we have so many more tokens outstanding now, 655 total tokens, 459 users. If I go and buy the next 10, that's not going to sway any vote or anything,
Nope. Well, that's really a healthy DAO too. That's a sign, for those who don't know. That's a sign of a healthy DAO, to have that kind of distribution where it's not being held with just 2 or 3 people, and almost they can control every vote. You have a nice distribution where you've got a lot of people with 1s and 2s, and that to me is such a good, healthy sign. So that's fantastic. Couple,
what I would love to do, like maybe even on your show in the future, is I'm curious of what people think maybe Farcaster's biggest weaknesses are now, and what
ooh,
are the various solutions, and that I don't, I'm in there, I'm building it. We can talk about Scout Game, even though I'm really here to talk about Purple. Um, I love it. I'm like a maxi. I've been here for a long time, and so I think maybe I even have like a little bit of a blind spot into like, well, what are the biggest problems, and and certainly I talk to people, so I understand the users have a hard time getting exposure and those kinds of things. Yeah, I would love. Yeah, I don't really. To me, the biggest problem is like we're not growing. I think
yeah,
that's a problem for all of Ethereum, by the way,
yeah,
not just a Warpcast thing. Our existential crisis is that we are a small community, and we need to onboard people across all of the touch points of crypto. Warpcast is a great touch point to onboard people onto. So that probably would be my focus, but yeah, I feel like I have a blind spot for some of the other stuff. Also, having a big account,
good
like
point.
I think the three of us have, you and have different blind spots because engagement
Oh,
is great, and
100%. There are times, there are things that I don't even see and have to be, even that's why I love the trending feed. Don't take it away from me. Because I miss things like you just don't see, and it can be something that's really active and really happening and everybody's talking about it, and you're like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I've
Yeah.
completely missed
And we
this,
don't
and I have to go back and like figure it out. So yeah,
and we
we're
don't know
gonna
what
miss
it's
things.
like to join now. Like it's like
Right.
you don't know I know what it felt like to join 2 years ago, and
Yep.
when, when community was tiny, and you just don't know. And I think, Chris,
yeah,
good call out on the blind spots,
yeah.
because I
I will
think
say
unless you're,
that
like, constantly reminding yourself, it's easy to forget.
100%. I will say that I've signed up recently with test accounts for the app I'm building, and the onboarding experience is fantastic. But like it is the first class app. That team crushes. It's very easy to use. Anyone can sign up. Then when you land, that's
Right.
where my blind spot begins.
The text is so small, though.
The text is too small.
Once you log
It's
in,
The text
it's
is too
just
small. I hate this
tiny.
app.
I can onboard easily,
I
but the
hate this
text is
app.
just too
It's
small.
just too
Yeah.
small. Oh, that's so funny. You'll have to go back a couple days, folks, to understand the context on that one. But that's a really good point, and I'm hoping that what we're doing with Farcaster 101 helps a little bit fill that space, but more could be in there for sure. And I think things like we used to have like FarQuest and things like that. I think gamifying some things is helpful as well. And maybe that's something Purple could do also, or fund if
Really
somebody has
cool.
an idea around that. But maybe a focus on onboarding or other words like that. Like a
Yeah,
focus
totally.
on helping newbies to get
Yeah, even like an initiative about your first month on Barca. Like I don't
yeah.
know how long it takes. Probably if you have 2 good weeks, you're probably hooked. One of the hooking
Yeah.
points I think for a lot of people is making some money. That's probably not what it should be about, but I've talked to so many people. I've talked to many artists who have participated in like nouns animators or nouns draws, and in fact, they didn't know anything about Ethereum. But a friend was just like, you're a great illustrator. There's this way to make money. And by the way, a lot of my conversations are like people in Argentina or Venezuela where getting a little bit of crypto is a lot of money. And so they give it a try. And like within their first week, they earn, it used to be ETH, now it's Noun, but they earn some real money. And within the first month, they realize like I make more money here than I make with my full-time job. And I hate my full-time job. So then they're just lifetime hooked. So money helps for sure. But there's a lot of great stuff. I mean, I love the stuff. I love Farc. Like just watching the intro to your show or the section before I joined. It's like, man, I love this place. It's like so much fun. The culture is really good.
Yes.
We call out people when they do things wrong. We we celebrate stupid memes. It's
Yes.
like, but it's unique memes, right? Like unique
You need memes.
intellectual memes to us. Yeah, it's just such a great place, and I think it's a place that a lot, it used to be like, I joined and you guys are all talking about crypto and I don't know what this is. And like, it doesn't have to be that anymore. And I think it's a
No.
lot less than it used to be.
I think we have a lot more variety. But I think to crypto's point here. Oops. I've onboarded a dozen and only 2 are still here. Hard for non-crypto people, and no way for them to easily ease them into finding
Yeah,
content.
that's true.
So we do have to get better with that. So it's like El Dorado, best city ever, but impossible to find.
The
No, I
team,
And I
think you
think that's
guys
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I think that's
Go ahead.
another blind spot. I actually think
Yeah.
I think you kind of still need to somehow know crypto. And I go back, if you remember, I onboarded a friend 6 months ago, and it wasn't even crypto. She was like, her immediate thing was like, what's yoink?
Yeah.
So it's like, it might not even be crypto, but it's like, there's still such like random niche, obscure. So you can
you're right. All of
find
it.
but it's like, what? It's
We were just talking about a glossary would be helpful.
Yeah.
So that was something that came out of, that's another thing. Like there's just things that people aren't going to know, understand, and we need to do a little better.
One of the things that I've been thinking for Purple proper is we've literally never done this. I've also like I've gone through my own personal journey in 2 years from being like a truly decentralized maxi, where like I want no staff for Purple, like we're just the decentralized thing. But then you start working with Optimism, and you're like, okay, this is like way more centralized and way more competent than everything else in the ecosystem. And they have like a comms manager, and when you participate in the OP ecosystem and you wake up that morning, you know what's expected of you. Like compare that to like Nouns, where it's like it's like the world's craziest marching band. Yeah, the for Purple proper, like I just want to start onboarding people. Like if you buy a token, like I haven't really figured out the logistics or the time zones. But it's like, imagine it's like every Thursday drop into a tavern with me, or every Thursday as a Google Meet or a Zoom, like something even more personal, and like let's onboard the new members. And then I wonder if there's something similar we could do for Farcaster at large. It's like
it's a great idea. And it doesn't even need to be you. That could be a prop for someone to host kind of
100%
weekly
totally.
boarding. My memory when I joined 2 years ago and I had seen Purple on the timeline and I had not been Dow pilled, and I still don't know if I am, Prof. I don't know if you'd call it, but
I've been working hard. She's in a Dow, and that's enough. She's in one, and that's plenty.
But the things I remember from 2 years ago, I'd say one is I knew that Purple had nothing to do with Merkle. Like it was permissionless and and that the mission was of Purple to proliferate Farcaster. So I just remember feeling like, oh, I would like early on, like I want Farcaster to succeed. What can I do? And it felt like, oh, joining Purple was just like the easiest, lowest hanging fruit thing that I as an individual could do because I also cared about Farcaster. So anyone listening, I think over time you kind of forget about Purple. I think also as the network grew, Purple as a percentage of who's out there gets smaller and it kind of gets watered down and forgotten. So if you're listening and you care about Purple, like go buy a token, go bid on a token, get involved, because if it's just like it's an easy way, I think, to if you care about Farcaster.
I'll also say like DAOs are very early, but what feels like a natural life cycle of DAOs is that there's constant turnover. And like I'll use Nouns as the example, but this is exactly happening to Purple, which is like, you start in a community, you're working on things, and then a lot of those early people have success. And in Nouns DAO, it's like, Jesse Pollock is a member of Nouns DAO. He now runs Base and Coinbase Wallet.
He's a member of Purple too, isn't he?
He is also a member of Purple. That's true.
I think he is.
Jacob is a member of Nouns. Like these people get very busy because Nouns is full of it. Purple is full of it too. It's like all of our early members. Like again, like I'll mention Colin from Plunder and DF and like everyone kind of gets sucked out of the DAO back into like their thing, which is great. And then new people come in, and when you have success, you like just keep rolling that energy through. But I would love to kind of as I sort of stated my intentions to turn my focus back to Purple, I would love to like bring in a bunch of the sort of OGs back, and because as uncomfortable as it makes me, one fantastic thing for new users is when they DM me and I respond, and then they feel seen, and someone who's been around for a really long time and has a large following is interested in talking to them, and that I just am open. Like I don't know why everyone knew that back in the day, and now I think when you join, you might know who I am, and you might know that I'm going to respond to your DMs. But I think Purple can be that, right? Like just come talk to the OGs. Like we see the projects you're working on.
A little welcome wagon,
or even just like a hey,
wagon.
Tell us what you're working on. Like we see what you're working on. We'll try your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We do have to wrap because Adrienne does have to. She has a hard stop today. I do want to share one last thing because it's funny, but Adrian, if you have to go, it's fine.
I'll hang for one last thing.
This from Naomi was absolutely hilarious. Here is my sketch that I created whilst waiting for my husband to finish a meeting. Farcaster in real life, and hopefully I can get this to play. Let me make sure the sound is on. Whoops.
Have a great day, guys.
Whoops.
GM, have a
Let me
great
go
day,
back.
100
Hold on.
Jen. Thank you so
You
much.
have been tipped. The podcast in real life.
GM, have a great day, guys. GM, have a great day. 100 Jen. Thank you so much.
You have been tipped. You have been tipped 100D, Jen. Amy Collins, 100D.
I hope you have a great day today. Thanks so much. No problem. Here's some ham. Thank you.
Just been tipped 100 ham. It will be deposited. Swipe, swipe.
Have a great day. Having a great day. I need my bot hat. Having a great day is essential for your life. Silence, but under the fold you go.
Ah! Swipe, swipe.
I am being boosted. Oh my god, I can't believe I am being boosted.
Swipe, swipe.
Ooh, I'm super anon.
We're so lucky to have her.
Bravo. Bravo, Naomi. Afro Chicks. If you're not following Afro Chicks, like, what are you doing with your life? But she's a great example of somebody who is new, dove in, shares her experience, and then just gets funny. So thank you. We love you. And with that, we do have to end and call it there. Again, happy birthday, Purple. We're so glad that we got to spend this with Chris Corella. And we will see you all on the timeline. Please go outbid me on the Purple token for today. And we'll be back on Monday, 8:30 a.m. We'll see you then. And we'll be always talking about Purple, not just today, but every day. So bye-bye, everyone.